Welcome back to the cafeteria. Today we are making broccoli, chicken, and shrimp Alfredo. Right here I am seasoning my skinless sliced chicken breast, and I am being heavy on the seasoning because chicken can be very bland and we do not want bland Alfredo. And I'm going to be showing you every seasoning that I used on my chicken and my shrimp in this clip. So now that the chicken is seasoned, we're going to move on to the shrimp. So this is what the shrimp looks like after it's seasoned, and this is what the chicken looks like after it's seasoned. So now in a large skillet, because this is where everything is going to get cooked at except for the shrimp. The shrimp's going to get cooked in another skillet. So I'm putting about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and right now I'm going to sear the chicken on both sides so that it's golden brown. Give it a nice sear on there. And we're going to make sure we don't overcook the chicken because we don't want it to be dry. We want it to be juicy. We're going to cook it just enough. And this is thin chicken breast, so you don't need to cook it long. Maybe 2 minutes on each side, and that's perfectly good. And I'm using 3 slices of chicken breast, but I'm only going to be showing you 2 in the skillet. But I cook all 3 the same. 2 minutes on each side. Turn them over. You know, get it cooked all good and stuff. So now I'm going to flip the chicken, and this is how it should look after 2 minutes. On one side, you turn it over, cook it on the other side, and bam, it's done. So now in a small skillet, we are going to put a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. And this is the skillet we're going to cook the shrimp in. Now, usually I would cook everything in one skillet, but since we have a seafood allergy in my house, I'm cooking the shrimp separately. And this is what we're going to cook it in. And shrimp does not take that long to cook. So we're going to cook it like a minute per side. And then if I was going to put everything in the skillet together, I would toss it into the Alfredo once everything else was done and put together so that it could cook a little bit more. But shrimp does not take long to cook at all. So a minute on each side, and just sit it to the side in the same skillet. Let it rest, and it's going to continue to cook from that residual heat that's left once you turn the heat off. And a good tip, try to flip the shrimp the same order that you put it in. So I'm putting them in the skillet in a circle, and I'm going to try to remember to flip in the order that I put the shrimp in so that they all cook about the same amount of time. So now the shrimp has cooked on one side, and we're going to turn it over. And I'm cooking this on a medium heat because if you cook it low and slow, you might end up with rubbery, tough shrimp, and we don't want that. We want the shrimp juicy, flavorful, and just right. So turn your heat up. That way it'll cook quicker, and you won't leave it in the skillet so long. So now, back to the skillet that we cooked the chicken in. All I did was drain the olive oil out of the skillet, but I left all the crispy bits and little seasoning left at the bottom. I left that in because that is flavor for the Alfredo. That is all the good stuff. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter, and that's just so my heavy cream doesn't stick and burn in the skillet. And you just want to whisk that into the skillet, get it nice and melted. And now I am adding a tablespoon of minced garlic because it's just great in Alfredo. And we're going to brown it just a little bit. We don't want it to burn. We just want to heat it up, get that flavor going, bring out the flavor of that garlic before we put our heavy cream in the skillet. So cook the garlic for about 3 minutes because you don't want to cook it. You're not really cooking the garlic. You're just heating it up so the flavor comes out. And now I am adding 2 pints of heavy cream. This is gonna make a lot of sauce, but you need a lot of sauce because you don't want more chicken and shrimp and vegetables and noodles than sauce. You need a lot of sauce. So now we're just gonna whisk that all together, get that butter and that garlic and all those little seasoned bits, get that all mixed into the heavy cream. And we're gonna cook it on medium low heat because we do not want this to boil over. If you turn your heat up too high, you turn away for 2 seconds, this heavy cream is boiling over. So now you can season your Alfredo with whatever you choose to season it with, but I'm using these seasonings that I'm showing you in this clip. And each seasoning that I'm showing you, I used half a tablespoon. And that might sound like a lot, but it's not a lot because heavy cream is bland. It tastes like watered down milk. And that's not how we want our Alfredo to taste. We want it seasoned, honey, seasoned. Now whisk all of that together, get everything nice and incorporated. Now we are going to add our cream cheese. Cream cheese in your Alfredo sauce makes it so rich and creamy, and it thickens it up. You don't want, well, however you want your Alfredo is your choice, but I like cream cheese in my sauce because that makes it thick. I don't like thin Alfredo. And I'm adding 1.5 blocks of cream cheese, so that's about 12 ounces. And I'm just gonna whisk that in. Using a whisk really incorporates the cream cheese into the heavy cream. It gets all the lumps out and it helps you get a smooth Alfredo sauce. So here is my chicken breast all done and ready to get chopped up. And y'all, I hate this chopping mat that I bought from Dollar Tree because cutting this chicken, it looks like I'm trying to cut through the table because the chopping mat, I couldn't feel like if I was chopping through the chicken good enough or what. So I just don't like it. I should have used my cutting board. But anyway, cut your chicken up nice and chunky. You can cut it small, you can cut them big, however you like it. Do you, boo? And it might look like this chicken is tough, but the edges are crispy. So that's why it looks like it's hard to cut, because the edges are crispy. Everything else is nice and tender, but the edges are a little crispy. So I had to like really put a little pressure to get through the crispy edges. But that adds more flavor to the sauce. So now the Alfredo sauce has been simmering, boiling. It's a light boil. And now we just want to whisk it, make sure everything is all good and smooth, and make sure you get around the edges of your skillet because you don't want that to stick. So whisk it really well, make sure it's smooth. And now, once it is smooth, you add your Parmesan cheese. And I did not measure how much I added. I just eyeballed it. I mean, you can add as much or as little as you want, whatever you prefer is what's going to make this Alfredo good. But I added a generous amount of Parmesan cheese just so I could taste it and I could get that good cheesiness into the Alfredo sauce, because that's like the main component of Alfredo, Parmesan, so you need a lot of it. And just whisk that Parmesan cheese in until it's melted and smooth. I used shredded Parmesan, but I prefer shaved simply because it melts a little faster, but this was a good shredded, so I had no problem. So now we're gonna add our chicken and our broccoli. And if you don't have a seafood allergy in your house, you can add your shrimp now too. And this is broccoli that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm using half a bag because I didn't want that much broccoli in my Alfredo. And I just warmed this broccoli up in the microwave for 5 minutes just so it could thaw out and get a little warm, and that kind of steams it a little bit. So it was all good to go and ready to put in the Alfredo, because now the sauce is done, everything is cooked, and we just need to heat it all together so that it is married, ready to go in our tummies. So now in a roasting pan, I'm going to boil some water and add some salt just to flavor the linguine pasta. And I'm using a large roasting pan because I don't like to break my noodles up, whether it's spaghetti, linguine. I don't like to break it in half. I like long noodles, so I'm putting half a pack of linguine pasta. And I'm not adding any oils to my pasta while it's boiling, because when you do that, that keeps your sauce from sticking to the pasta. And I want all my sauce to get stuck to every part of the linguine once I put it in my Alfredo sauce. So now I'm just going to add the linguine to the sauce. And then I'm going to toss it all together, and we are going to be ready to eat. Alfredo is the easiest dish to make, and you can mix it up and match it up however you want to make it your own. Just look at that cheesy goodness, all that pasta. So now it is time to put this Alfredo in a bowl. And I'm just putting a nice amount. And here I'm using the internet's favorite garnish, parsley and some red pepper flakes, and that is it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.